Imagine collapsing on a busy street, in full view of dozens of people. Now imagine the exact same moment happening on an empty street, with a single stranger nearby. You would assume the crowded street gives you better odds. More eyes, more hands, more chances someone steps in. Decades of research say the opposite is true, and the gap isn't small. The more people who witness you in trouble, the less likely any single one of them is to actually help, and the reason has nothing to do with cruelty. It has to do with a calculation your brain runs so fast, you never even notice it happening. In 1964, a young woman named Kitty Genovese was murdered outside her apartment building in Queens, New York. The initial newspaper coverage claimed 38 witnesses saw or heard the attack and did nothing. Later investigative journalism substantially complicated that number. Many witnesses saw only fragments. Some didn't realize what they were hearing, and at least one person did call for help. The original story was, in important ways, an oversimplification. But the oversimplified version still did something significant. It sent two psychologists looking for a real answer. In 1968, John Darley and Bib Latané published an experiment in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology that would become one of the most replicated findings in social psychology. Participants sat alone in a room, communicating with other people over an intercom, believing several other participants were listening in as well. Partway through, one voice on the intercom began simulating a medical emergency, sounding increasingly distressed. Darley and Latané varied one single thing: how many other people each participant believed were also listening. When participants believed they were the only other person who could hear the emergency, the overwhelming majority acted immediately. When participants believed several other people could also hear it, the percentage who helped and the speed at which they helped dropped sharply, even though every participant in every group size could hear the exact same emergency unfolding. Darley and Latané named the mechanism diffusion of responsibility. When you're the only witness, the entire weight of the decision sits on you alone, unambiguous, undivided, undeniable. The moment other witnesses appear, some part of your brain quietly, automatically, divides that weight among everyone present. Not because you consciously decide someone else will handle it, because your nervous system silently discounts your own responsibility in proportion to how many other people share the moment with you. To understand why this shortcut exists at all, you have to go back to the size of the world it was built for. For most of human history, the people around you in a crisis weren't strangers. They were your 50. Your 150, the same tight-known circle you'd spent your entire life inside. In a group that small, responsibility couldn't diffuse very far, because everyone could see exactly who did and didn't act, and everyone would remember it for years. Inaction had a face attached to it, and that face belonged to someone you'd be sitting beside at the fire again tomorrow. Modern crowds broke that math completely. A dozen strangers on a street corner share no history, no future obligation, and almost total anonymity. The responsibility diffusing shortcut that worked fine in a group of 10 known faces was never built to handle a crowd of anonymous dozens, and it doesn't know the difference. It just keeps dividing, the same way it always has, right down toward zero. Since 1968, researchers have run bystander effect studies across dozens of scenarios: staged medical emergencies, staged thefts, people asking for help with a dropped item, even online contexts where bystanders were simply other visible usernames rather than physical people in a room. A large body of this research consistently finds the same core pattern. As the number of perceived bystanders goes up, the likelihood that any individual intervenes tends to go down. And the effect shows up across an unusually wide range of settings and cultures for a single psychological finding. Some later studies did find nuance the original framing missed in situations with extremely high, unambiguous danger, or where bystanders could see each other's reactions and coordinate. The effect sometimes weakened or reversed. But the baseline pattern, in ordinary emergencies with strangers who can't easily coordinate, has proven remarkably durable across 60 years of replication. Nobody running these later studies was trying to confirm Darley and Latané specifically. They kept landing on the same mechanism anyway, because the mechanism was never really about any one city street. It was about a responsibility-sharing shortcut that every anonymous crowd anywhere triggers in exactly the same way. Here's where this stops being a story about a 1968 psychology lab. You have almost certainly experienced the pull of this shortcut yourself, hesitating to speak up in a large meeting, assuming someone else in a crowded group chat will respond to a friend's concerning message, walking past something that felt slightly wrong because so many other people were also walking past it without stopping. In every one of those moments, your brain wasn't being calculated or cold. It was running the exact same ancient math. More witnesses, less individual weight, less individual pull to act. This is also very possibly why acting alone often feels disproportionately harder than acting as part of a small known group, not because the stakes are actually higher, but because your nervous system has no shortcut available to share the weight with. It hands you the full, undivided decision, the way it once handed every decision to a much smaller world. You are not selfish for feeling that hesitation in a crowd. You are running a responsibility calculator built for 50 people, currently trying to process a crowd of thousands. The street is different now. The crowd is bigger, faster, and made almost entirely of strangers who will never see each other again. But the quiet calculation that decides how much of an emergency belongs to you never got rebuilt for that scale. It's still dividing responsibility the same way it always has, whether the group holding it is 10 people who know your name or 100 who will forget your face by tomorrow. Nobody decided not to help. Something older than any of them decided first.